Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy Strong Style, son of File, and half of the reigning, defending MPX Tag Team Champions, of course. Now, Titans, episode 3, Hank and Dove, and this is the episode that I will admit I've been dreading. I even kind of dragged my feet watching Titans for a few days because I had accidentally spoiled myself on this episode and what happens, and I was kind of just procrastinating on watching it, I will admit, or else I'd have had these episodes out earlier. But let us geek about it for a scant few minutes because this episode highlights, we see some issues in this episode, and then we can also kind of touch on some things that I kind of glossed over, or even not at all, in the previous 2 episodes, but we can address them here. Now, this episode is centered on Hank and Dawn. Their relationship, definitely a tangled, difficult, emotional, stressful type of relationship between the two of them. We kind of get into the fact that love makes you do strange things, and Hank is in love with Dawn. Is Dawn in love with Hank? Who knows? But she knows that he's just got some issues, got some baggage, got some anger issues. They need to work out. And they don't really work well as a team anymore, but he says it's painful for him to be like Hawk without her. She's fine seemingly with being Dove without him, but he can't be Hawk without her. It just sucks, as he points out. And then Jason calls. Hank is the one that's there, and of course Hank before was basically saying if it comes down between him and us, like, we need to put him down permanently as a permanent solution. Him and Dawn kind of get into it about that, but that's his final solution. You come after family, you're going to get put down. Even Starfire kind of backs up that idea that, hey, if you come after family, we'll hit you back harder. So it was ironic that when Jason calls, makes this fake phone call, acting like he's didn't know what he was doing, the drugs made him do it, yada, 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 to lure out Hank. Hank was the one that wanted to, put him down, but now Hank is trying to kind of go out on a limb to help the dude, to bring him in. Maybe he's just trying to lull him into a false sense of security. He gets there, and then they fight, and whatever, because Hank says, comes down to him and Jason, he's going to put him down. So we go through this long, drawn-out thing, and that's the one thing I don't like about this episode, is we go through this whole long, drawn-out cat and mouse sort of thing where Jason's luring him to the spot where he eventually captures him or whatever, but he has him just do just a whole bunch of just stuff, like he has him disrobe, so he's totally buck naked. I don't know if they just wanted just a shot of Alan Richardson from the back, buck naked, because the dude is cut, and have him swim across this dirty swimming pool, and then eventually Jason captures him and implants a bomb in his chest, and that's tuned to his heartbeat, and after a certain number of heartbeats, it's going to go off. Goes back to Titan's Tower, or the cave with that, Wayne Manor, with that going on, and they're trying to both track down Jason, but also track down a way to disable this explosive device. So you have Beast Boy and Connor kind of working out this tech way to deactivate it. You have Connor just making these different configurations to a device that's supposed to deactivate the bomb, and of course, there are millions of permutations, and Connor's just super speeding, going through all these, trying to get it right. So it's interesting that they're using Connor in that way. I saw somebody on a message board point out that he does have half of Lex Luthor's brain in him, so it's natural that he should be capable in an engineering and invention capacity. So that was interesting to see. And then there's, given the budget and the scope of the show, it's Super Bowl. He has Superman's powers, but you can't just can't flex all that on screen like you may want to because of the budget. So that's going on there, and Jason calls and says, hey, if you want me to turn off the bomb, you need to steal for me. Nightwing, Dick doesn't want to steal for him. Dawn's like, why not? Dawn actually goes, carries out the deed, goes to the drop spot, and Jason says there's a solution in this, little metal box or whatever, toolbox. Turns out it's a gun. He's telling her that he's trying to free her of her burden being, her worry for Hank or whatever. Dick shows up, and they kind of have this standoff where it's getting close crunch time with Hank and when he's going to blow up. Superboy, at the last second, finds a solution. Dawn eventually pulls the trigger, but it's actually not a gun. It's a detonation device. The one that Jason had in his hand was just a ploy that she actually activated the bomb by pulling the trigger. And it ends with the explosion at Wayne Manor, and then Dawn kind of like collapsing and all upset and stuff like that. So that was mostly the episode. And as I said, I kind of have some issues with this long drawn out way that they just, maybe it was just a bad time to get Hank into this position to get captured. They could have done it they could have handled it way faster than they did. I feel it was just purely to pad time in the episode, which is disappointing. Was there not other stuff we could have put in there to kind of take up that time, you know? Like I said, I was not looking forward to this episode because it kills Hank. It's interesting that they're taking Jason the route of like a full-on, like he has to be a full-on villain. I will just riot if he gets turned back to the light, if he gets talked off the ledge, if he like turns his back from his villainous ways, if it's a CW style power of the pep talk situation. That I cannot stand. Like, he does not need to be redeemed or atone for what he did, yada yada yada. No, it's just dude is full-on villain. Just stick that landing. That's the path you wanted to take. Stick that landing. Just don't, you know, get cold feet and then try to like pull it back and just redeem him or whatever. Oh God, I just dread that happening so much with the storyline, because they've had potential for stuff in the past 2 seasons and they've screwed it up. So here's where we enter in after the first couple solid episodes of this new season. We just, like, old issues that we have kind of come to the forefront with what they're going to do with this and what's going to be the long game of Jason. And next episode is Blackfire, so it's titled Blackfire, so I'm assuming Starfire's sister's going to come in. So does that mean Red Hood stuff gets put on the back burner? If it gets put on the back burner, how long does it get put on the back burner? So now, like I said, they're juggling like 2 kind of major things that they want to do in a shortened amount of episodes with a lot of characters. So what are we going to see? Going back to a lot of characters, they bring in Tim Drake. Now, Tim Drake in the comics, his origin is specifically tied to Batman and how he kind of deduces that Batman is Bruce Wayne and tries to become a sidekick, yada, yada, yada. But now we've gone this way where we've kind of emotionally kneecapped Batman and got him out of the way. So how is that going to play out? We can see in his early first appearance is a fanboy. We can see he was affected by the fact that Robin is said to have been killed. So is he still going to go that route? Where he maybe deduces that Nightwing is Dick Grayson and still tries to be a Robin. Nightwing says no. Nightwing is going to fall into a trap. Tim's going to come and save him and actually get anointed the next Robin, because why would they in the context of this show? Because Dick and Barbara are against bringing in another kid into all of this. So why then would they allow Tim Drake to be involved in this? So they kind of set this things one way, but then you have, and yet they bring in Tim Drake. So what are they going to do with him long term? I'm curious to see how that's going to go. If it's another thing where they're just going to screw it up by the end, I don't know. It just has me concerned. This episode kind of brought to the forefront some concerns I have with the show that I had going into, like, coming out of season 2 and going into season 3, and even seeing some of the early reviews of season 3 episodes. Reviewers are kind of highlighting the fact that some of those issues, concerns, were well-founded. So it remains to be seen, like, how all this goes outside of, you know, Hank getting killed, because Hawk and Dove are like my favorite part of Titans and have been since the beginning. I've long said if they do a spinoff, I'm cool with it. I would watch it. But of course, we know Alan Richardson, who I've been a fan of since he showed up as Arthur Curry on Smallville years upon years ago. Did not watch him in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies because I thought those sucked. But he's going on to be Jack Reacher. So, I mean, I'm a huge fan of him. And I just liked what I saw from Hawk and Dove on the show. I could have done with a spinoff, but now he's not going to be on there. Some people are kind of speculating on where does this leave Dawn. I think she retires. She's been through so much. She's got so much baggage from being Hawk and Dove, baggage with Hank, and now Jason kills Hank. Do I, as a Hawk and Dove fan, want to see her get her comeuppance on him? Yes. Do I think it's going to go that way? No, because she's just been through so much. There's nothing to keep her there. And again, this is a big, kind of a bloated cast. So just have her just say enough is enough, retire, go back to DC, and just want to get far away from this Titans business and craziness and stuff like that. Hopefully that's what happens. Otherwise, what's really the purpose of her there at this point? Remains to be seen how it plays out. All in all, it was an okay episode outside of just massive issues that I have and fears being brought to the forefront. Stuff I just didn't really think about in the first 2 episodes, but now they're back in full focus, and I'm just kind of wondering where the writers are going and if they're going to be able to stick the landing of season 3 of Titans. Remains to be seen, I suppose. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts on it, scattered as they often are, but you guys have to think. Let me know in the comments below. Follow me, social media, talking to me there, talking to me here. Till next time, let us geek.